go to sleep, I go far away. If you forgot your dreams, just remember to love. It's important to remember your dreams.
It was all a dream.
And I woke up.
Yeah, what up, AquaStoneThrone? Like, share, and subscribe. This is gonna be a short one. I'm in the flow state. I'm drinking coffee. I'm gonna just rock with it. This video is gonna be about death. All right, guys. I'm not gonna tell you the mystery of God. That's up for you to figure out. But what I can tell you is that in this realm and in this plane of existence, we got death all wrong. And it's really it's very sad. And this is why I kind of want to make this video. Because when you really study the Bible, you're actually within the beast. You are actually in a lower form of existence right now. Because you're coming from completeness. You're coming from godliness. You're coming from all-knowing. And when you really understand this, when you leave this vessel for a short time, because right now you're in the valley of shadow and death, you really got to understand this. And so when you wake up and you get Christ consciousness, there is nothing to fear, okay? You don't need this. You don't need this. You don't need anything, because everything is within. And so everyone, unfortunately, a lot of people here are living in their own sad, pathetic fear. And the truth is, they're creating it. And that's the honest to God truth, because there are people that are free. And there are people that know God is within and know God is all around them. And these people have the love frequency, a higher octave of thought, knowledge, and existence, as opposed to people that are shut off in the mind and just don't know who they are. So I want to say one thing, right? Because Kanye and Cudi dropped an album a couple years ago named Kids See Ghosts, right? I'm very blessed to be one of these kids. When I was young, my grandma, I grew up in Brooklyn, and you know, like I didn't have nothing. My parents worked hard their entire life. You know, they were in the rat race, and you know, just did the 9 to 5, sat on the couch the whole night, drank a beer, went back to sleep. That was their entire existence. And so, just like all of our parents, right, for the most part. But basically, what I was getting, I just forgot what I was gonna say actually. Oh yeah, but back to what I was saying, right? But back to what I was saying, right? Kanye had this album called Kids See Ghosts. I was one of these kids. I'm from Brooklyn, and my parents were hard workers their whole lives. You know, they were in the rat race and these little bullshit jobs, not living their truth and existence in their entire experience. And you know, they would work very hard just to pay the bills, just like all of us do, right? Because we're kind of trapped in a shitty system, and that's the truth. Because we should be all out here loving and experiencing, sharing, and just creating, and getting paid for our creations, not getting paid to work at a McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or any of these nonsense locations. But this is why robots are coming. So check out Fourth Industrial Revolution, because humans aren't going to be doing these low vibrational jobs in another 20 years. That's for sure. But back to what I was saying. When I was younger, I could see ghosts. So my grandmother had a daughter that died when she was 12 or 13 years old. 30 years later, they used to watch me as a child, because my parents would, you know, go out every once in a while or just be working at nighttime. And I was a young kid, and I would see a little girl in the kitchen, and she'd always try to get me to come out and play with her when it was time to go to sleep. And I would tell my grandma this, because, you know, when I was young, you know, little kids, they sleep with their parents or their grandma. And since it was at my grandma's house, I didn't have a little bed or a crib. And I would tell my grandma that I would see the girl in the kitchen, and she was always trying to get me to come out and play. There was never a girl in the kitchen. This would really, really scare the shit out of my parents and my grandma, because they didn't understand this. And I know who it was. It was my grandma's daughter, which expired. She had cancer and she passed away at a very young age. Now, since you don't die, you can get stuck in a location. And you can, depending on how you die, wake up and not realize that you're dead. So the reason why I'm explaining this to you is because a lot of us, first of all, the Jewish people, we should all be understanding and living just like them, because they bury the body the same night, because they understand that the energy and the soul will actually hang around and view from outside the body, but only for like a day. So in Christianity, like somebody dies, and then like an entire week will go by before you have the funeral, and everyone's sad and everyone's crying, but no one knows what's going on because they're all being lied to, and they don't have any knowledge of self and really what the world really is. And so when you're leaving the body, first of all, you got to understand that certain people that expire through crazy gunshot wounds or crazy car accidents or things unexpectedly, there's reasons for this. Karma is very real. If let's just say you kill for money in this life, you're gonna get killed in another life. So this is real. And so this is what they don't want you to know, honestly, because they want to keep you in a fucked up like whack loop. They want to keep you in a low loop, but not a godly loop. And so we all come back until we learn these lessons. But let's just say someone is just a good person or whatever, and then they got taken out by a car, right? Or get into a crazy car accident. You got to understand that this mind, we are literally everything. And certain people just want to leave, and they cause external things to take them out. And so this is very important to really understand. But moreover, back to what I was saying, when somebody dies, you really got to have love and understand that the Most High, or them and their higher selves, has given themselves to have experiences with here for a time. But when that time is done, that time is not up to you. And by you constantly being sad over someone that leaves, if they don't know who they are, and if they haven't made it to God or Christ consciousness and understanding, their soul will come back or never forget and want to leave and stay as a ghost, because they have internal remorse, or they feel, or they can see that people are constantly crying every single day because somebody passed away. And it's very low vibrational, very egotistical, and a very sad way of looking at death, because anybody with logic and understanding that is let go of the ego somewhat can understand that all of us from birth are dying. And we're all here for a certain amount of time. And when you really have gratitude for an individual, you really love them in the moments that you're with them. And or even if you're fighting, like let's just say, like normal people fight, right? But when you have a higher God conscious mind, you could understand there's just arguments and things like that. People don't, we're not all here to meet on every single level at every single moment. But when you have a higher mind, you understand that everything is everything, and we're all dualistic in nature. There's just as much hate as there is love in this realm. And so when you raise up in level of thought, you understand that love is everything, but there's much more. There are real universal laws and principles, because love is everything is like that's kind of like that right there is like it's a little weird saying, especially in times where there's massive wars. People don't even have clean water, and there's disinformation everywhere. So to kind of be on that love is everything is kind of a cop out, and a very feministic and soft way at looking at a reality. Because when you become of Christ mind, you understand that everything is dual in nature, and you're also here not to just be friends with the world, because a higher mind overstands and sees things, sees the impurities, sees the unrighteousness as just as much as they see the righteousness and the consciousness. So it's very delusional to get caught up in that. It's love is everything. You know, that's kind of like hippies, like, and then hippies don't do shit. Well, their government is just. It's kind of like marching, right? Like the cops are killing another black guy. Let's just march. Like, never in life has marching done anything. And there's the one point in time where I think you could bring it back to Boston to say that there was a march that did something, but anybody of a higher conscious mind knows it's all part of the show. But if you really want change, you don't march, you don't do things like this. You open up a book, you get into the system, you understand the levels of government, you change things from the inside. You don't cry and shout and act like you're doing something and get all worked up for a week and then forget about it a week later. That's not using your higher intelligence and higher mind. So yeah, this is basically, I kind of rambled a little bit, as I always do, but I'm in the flow state. But this is basically a video about death. You don't die. You continually come back until you learn all of your lessons. And then once you're done, you go to a higher realm of existence, or you go back to the Creator. It's really that simple. We all have bits and pieces of the Creator in us. And the Creator has dropped down to a level of existence to learn, have experiences, to remember once more. So I love and appreciate y'all. If you're listening to my frequency, I know you're doing the divine work, and I know that you're on the way up. AquaStoneThrone, stonestills.com. If you're looking for cryptocurrencies and the New World Order coins, which are going to be real case usage for the new system, I already did my due diligence. I got it in my Patreon. So if you want to continue being a slave in the system, do you. If you want financial freedom, wealth, happiness, and just a higher level of thought and existence, check out the Patreon. I love y'all.